Lucas, nice to meet you. Can you tell us more about your great project? This looks like a nearest future. This looks like perfect Italian design, and Italians are perfect in design. And tell us more about Manta.
Thank Konstantin. Pleasure having you here. Well, this is a vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. So you can take off from the back garden and then fly exactly where you need to go. It takes off vertically.
As I know, this also have, so we can use regular oil from the gas station.
And it's a hybrid propulsion system. So there is a gas turbine, batteries, and it uses diesel fuel or biodiesel or biojet A1. So you can also stop at the gas station and fill the tank with the diesel.
Yeah, cool.
So this is important because you don't need to have an infrastructure, a ground infrastructure. If we had only batteries, we would need all the recharging stations. And in this case, not, because the
Is it only vertical? Also, it can be like a short takeoff.
It's a vertical and short takeoff.
Both, like
yes,
this and like
it's
this.
Both, because if you take off.
And what's the length for flight if it is vertical, and what's the length if it is stall?
If it's vertical, then obviously we have a limit, a maximum takeoff weight, which is limited, and the range is between 300 and 400 kilometers. Instead, if you take off as a stall, then you can fill all the fuel tanks, and it's beyond 1,000 kilometers.
Cool.
300 kilometers per hour cruising speed.
So 1 hour and you'll be somewhere on a city,
exactly.
on a seaside.
300 kilometers, yes. So this is the idea. That it's targeting the regional and inter-regional transportation. It's not urban air mobility. We do not. With this vehicle, you cannot. It's not optimized to do
inside a city.
Jumps,
it's like
short jumps.
Intercity. Can you tell more about your model?
In Manta, we develop a platform. It's a typical concept of automotive. You develop a platform, and then it takes different shapes. So the platform means the shape of the aircraft, the propulsion system, the avionics, and the human-machine interface. Then we have the two-seater is the first one, but in the background we are working on the four-seater as well. Right? So it's the same platform. It takes the shape of 2 or 4 seats. So it's at the end for certain use, the four-seater will be very much more appreciated than the two-seater. But for certain missions, special missions, the two-seater is focused. We are working on the project since 2 years, and the company is now in Italy. So we are in north of Milan. We are very close to what was Augusta, Westland. Now it's called Leonardo. That's the area where the vertical flight has very deep roots. Very big roots. So there is a lot of very big ecosystem there with all the companies working for helicopters, for airplanes. And there are many people also which are very skilled and knowledgeable.
Can you tell more about your team? How many people? Who are they? Where did you get them?
Well, we are coming mostly from aerospace, but we have also some of us are coming from automotive. I was also in motorsport before, with aerospace, with automotive, motorsport. So we have this. This is an interesting mix because we are using some approaches that are typical of the motorsport in terms of speed development and programming development. And but let's say that we have a group which is today is a bit more than 20 people. It's like more than 20 people. We have to double very quickly to scale up, and most of them are. They have 25 years experience at least. So we are all a bit old, but apart from a couple of juniors. But this is the basic to have all the knowledge that we need to develop this.
What's approximately price for such model in the future?
For the two-seater?
Yeah,
for the two-seater we expect the price to be around 1.5 million euros.
It's much less than helicopter.
Absolutely, yes. It's, and not only the acquisition cost is lower, it's the operating cost which is much lower. And this is the advantage of using something like this instead of a helicopter.
So how can regular people can use your model? That is like a business car, business helicopter, or
it's personal air transportation. So, for example, if you need to go from one place to another in the US, in Australia, in the Middle East, and also in Europe, from one city to the other one, and you have to travel for 200, 300 kilometers, it's much faster than to take this rather than going by car, especially in some countries where the roads are not so
like
nice.
Our country, like Russia.
You have one of this, and it cruises at 300 kilometers per hour. So it's quite fast. And this is typical, no? You want to move from one city to another one.
Other purposes, maybe some rescue, maybe some.
Then we have We have designed the aircraft for special missions as well. So rapid intervention in case of emergency. You have also surveillance missions that it can perform. Also patrolling. It's prepared to have on board sensors of different types, especially in the nose and the winglets. We can install sensors, and they can be used to terrain mapping, surveillance, patrolling, control, and all this. Fire detection, for example. So search for people, search for vehicles.
When do you expect people can use your models? Everywhere, not everywhere, but maybe starting from Italy, then Europe, then all over the world.
Well, next year, and by the end of next year, we'll have the first two prototypes, the flying ones, the 1-to-1 scale, so the real ones. And then there we will start offering. In the next year, we want to offer this as an experimental aircraft. So it's not required to have a complete certification to use it. So already from 2023, some vehicles can be ready.
What about government regulation in Italy?
Well, it's European law. It's the European Agency for Safety in Aviation, which is EASA. It's the one which is dictating all the rules that we have to obey to. And there is a big change now. So these are new vehicles. So regulations have not been thought for these vehicles, and the EASA is making a big effort now to publish new regulations for these vehicles. So there was, for example, a publication in June this year for special conditions for this type of vehicles. New rules will come, and the whole certification framework will evolve. But we are already at a good point, so we already know which are more or less the requirements that we have to fulfill to have these vehicles approved to fly. Also consider that when you want to fly over cities and densely populated areas, you have to be safe. We have, for example, we have a ballistic parachute.
Ballistic parachute, what else?
Then we have a crash structure. We have a double propulsion system. So if, for example, if the gas turbine stops, we have the batteries, and you can carry on with the batteries. Actually, the aircraft is meant also to fly for a certain amount of time only with batteries. So it can also glide a little bit. If everything stops, it can glide.
Okay,
so
fine.
At least you have that.
And your startup, you make some money from venture market?
Yes.
What is your stage now? Like seed or?
We are preparing now the Series A.
Series A.
At the beginning of this year, of 2022. We have already part of the Series 8 already committed, and we are going to have a Series B mid of next year.
And what is approximately the price of the whole company? Approximately for?
Well, it's something that we would like to share only under NDAs, let's say.
Okay, if I want to buy your company, can you sell me 1% for your company?
Well, we have the standard path for talking to investors. So we can share with you a pitch, an investment pitch. If you are interested, then let's talk, let's sign an NDA, we go more into details of the project and financials and technical aspects, and then if you want, you can decide, also knowing the other investors.
What is the next step? What do you want to do in nearest 5 years?
Yes, we are also thinking about the cargo version for this. And then one key aspect for this project is also to offer to other manufacturers some modules that we develop. For example, we are developing the hybrid propulsion system. If you want to make your own aircraft and you want a hybrid, and you change completely the shape, you have your vehicle, but you can install the hybrid propulsion system which is already developed. So it shortens your time to market. It reduces your cost, obviously, because you need to develop the whole hybrid propulsion system.
I understand the idea.
And you have it ready. So this is a big advantage to other manufacturers who might take these modules. The same for the flight mechanics, the flight computer, let's say. Okay, for the mathematical part, which is optimized to manage these type of vehicles for vertical takeoff and landing, and with different channels. These vehicles have 16 control channels.
16?
Yes, because we have the two canards are independent. They move independently. They use also for the roll control, beside the pitch control. We have the 8 motors that we control independently. So this is a mix and an amount of channels which usually you don't have in an airplane and you don't have in a helicopter. It's a fly-by-wire and it's controlled by the computer.
If I want to fly it, what should I have? Drive license?
Today you need a PPL, but in the future maybe you would need something less than that. Because these type of aircraft are all controlled by the computer.
So I can just only sit and it will be controlled by computer. I can use it by application from one point to another.
Yeah, but today regulations do not allow this. Today regulations require a pilot on board. So you need somebody with a license on board. But it will be different in the future. It will take time.
Our channel is about 2051 year, and it happens in the nearest future, 30 years. How does your business change?
I think you will have these type of vehicles parked in your back garden, and you will land in your back garden, and you just jump in, and it will not fly at 300 kilometers per hour. It will fly maybe at 500 kilometers per hour, and you can go on holiday maybe in few hours. You are so in another continent. Another thing is that you might avoid spending hours in the car.
If everyone in the future will use it, there will be crowds in the air.
There are some companies which are developing new air traffic control systems and also services to offer the let's say the booking of the airplane when you need to travel from one place to the other one. You will not need to.
So you think that will be one system that can control all the vehicles, and that will be easier to cooperate, and there will be not so many traffic jams.
No, everything will be. I think everything will be managed by the computers. We cannot afford to have non-highly skilled pilots in a densely populated airspace. So we will need computers on board and computers on ground, sense and avoid technology on board the aircraft, computers which bring the aircraft in what we call air pipes, virtual pipes or virtual highways, keeping them in line and keeping them updated about the surrounding traffic, and continuously transmitting their position to ground stations where all the information about all the vehicles is controlled. Let's say your experience would be like you have a phone and you say, in half an hour I have to take off from here and I have to go to that place. Then you will have your application and you will book or request
and
you request your flight, and then there will be a company which manages the vehicles and also talks to the air traffic control, and they will require a flight plan for you.
I wish you good luck and hope we can see it in nearest 5 years in most of the countries in the world.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you, Constantine. Bye bye.
Bye bye.